Hello, friends, and welcome to Leadership Evolution. Today, we're going to be talking about imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is when you feel like you're a fraud and you diminish or discount all of your accomplishments because you are honest with yourself. You really don't feel like you have what it takes to do the job that you've been hired to do, or to lead the team that you lead, or to be the person that you're projecting yourself to be. That's what imposter syndrome is. In today's video, I want to share with you a mindset that if you'll adopt, it will definitely help you with that loss of confidence that you feel as a result of imposter syndrome. I also want to share with you a technique that you can use anytime, whenever that loss of confidence, whenever that feeling of imposter syndrome creeps up inside. Today, specifically, we're going to talk about that feeling that you have that everybody else is looking at you and is wondering if you have what it takes. In a previous video, we talked about imposter syndrome and where it comes from inside of you and what you think about yourself. And I'll put a link to that video in the description below. If you are curious about that, I hope you'll check that out. When this feeling of imposter syndrome is projected on other people, and you're more worried about what people think about you than what you know about yourself, that can have some serious consequences for your leadership. You might start to do work, and instead of doing it passionately and to the best of your ability, you're doing it to try to please someone because you wonder what they'll think about it. You might be reluctant to make courageous decisions because you're afraid that you'll be wrong in someone else's eyes. Maybe you start to believe that everyone's out to get you, and you start to see monsters in all the shadows because you're worried about what everyone thinks. All of this is a way for you to focus on your deficiencies. Instead of looking inward and focusing on what you think is wrong, you're actually looking outward and focusing on yourself through the lens of what other people think of you. And we talked about this in the last video. This becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. And you begin to believe that you really are an imposter. So let's start with a question. When you think about the people in your life, and these can be the people at work, these can be the people at home, in your community, your friend group, the people that are important to you. When you think about them and what you believe that they think about you, what is it that you really want? Your answer might be recognition, respect, appreciation, affirmation. You may say, well, I just want to be liked. I want to be loved. I want to belong. There's a lot of different answers that can come out of this, but I want you to go beneath the surface of those answers and ask yourself, what do you really want? What is it that you really want? Now, you may say, I want to be liked, and I want people to like me and respect me, and I want people to give me appreciation or recognition for my work. And that may be what you say off the top of your head, but when you go deep underneath the surface of that, what is it that you really want? If you and I were sitting in a room together and we were discussing this topic, and we dug really deep into what you really want from the people around you, I think that what we would land on is that what you really want is approval. Approval is one of the three things that all human beings can't live without. We want security, we want control, and we want approval. Approval is actually necessary for survival. That's been hardwired into our biology. Way back in the day, if you weren't approved of, then you were kicked out of the tribe, and if you were alone, that meant you died. And so we've learned that we need to belong, that people need to approve of us, and so we'll go to great lengths to gain people's approval. And underneath the desire to be liked, respected, appreciated, recognized, all the things that we talked about earlier, is really a desire for approval. And I want to point out here that when you look outward, when you look at other people, when you look at those who are around you and try to get approval from them, what you're really doing is you're outsourcing something that you can give to yourself. And when you outsource something then it's no longer in your control. Your sense of approval is now dependent on someone else. The thinking goes, I don't have it, I don't have approval, and someone out there needs to give it to me. Let me ask you a question, another question. Fill in the blank here. I'm gonna give you a sentence, and I'd like for you to fill in the blank. If only blank, then I would feel approval. Now you might put in that blank, if only my boss would appreciate me more, then I would feel like I have approval. You might say, if only my spouse would give me more attention, then I would feel like I would have approval. You might say, if only my colleagues would affirm my work, then I would feel like I'm approved. So approval is hardwired into our instincts for survival. And there's nothing wrong with having approval. It becomes wrong, friends, when we want approval. It's the wanting that creates the problem and the drama inside of our lives. Because when you want something, that implies that you don't have it. I mean, I want $1 million. Just the fact that I want $1 million tells you that I don't have $1 million. And when you say I want approval, what you're admitting to yourself is I don't have it, therefore I've got to go get it, which leads to a belief of scarcity. So approval is something that's out there somewhere, and it's hard to get, it's hard to find, and I have to go after it. And so I do that by becoming worried about what everyone thinks about me, and worried that everyone wonders if I have what it takes, if I'm up to this job that I have, which results in imposter syndrome. The result is we search for approval in all kinds of destructive ways. For example, some of us do whatever it takes to please the people around us, and we become people pleasers. And in doing so, we lose our own integrity. We don't really know who we are because we act and we do and we talk and we believe based on what we think everybody else wants us to do and talk and believe and all that. So we're always chasing, but we're never catching. And that leads to a severe loss of self-confidence, which is a leader's kryptonite, by the way. When you lose your confidence, you lose your ability to lead. So I want to give you a mindset that I hope that you'd be willing to adopt that will help you tremendously with this loss of confidence, this imposter syndrome, this thing inside of you that makes you look at everybody else and wonder what they think about you. Hey, before I do that, if this content is helpful to you, I hope that you'll hit that like button. And if you want to follow Leadership Evolution and be alerted whenever new content comes out that's like this, I hope that you'll subscribe. And I really appreciate that because that'll help this channel tremendously. So let's talk about a mindset that you can adopt that will help you with imposter syndrome, especially when it comes to you wondering what everybody else thinks about you. Here's the mindset. You are the source for everything that's important in life. Now, I mentioned 3 things earlier that are very important: approval, security, control. When we outsource these important things, we lose our self-confidence. And I want you to adopt the mindset that knows that you are the source for all 3 of those things. In the case of imposter syndrome, approval is the big need there. And when you're looking for approval, I want you to learn to look inside of yourself. Adopt the mindset that knows that approval comes from within. Nothing that is important comes from out there. You can't get approval from out there. Now, you can be approved, and it's always nice when people approve of you and like you and love you and affirm you and recognize you and all that stuff. I'm not saying that's not nice to have, but when it comes to that feeling of the feeling of approval that we're all chasing, you can't get it from out there. There's nobody in this world that can give you the approval that you need. Only you can provide it for yourself. Now, that's a different mindset versus the mindset that says, I don't have self-confidence because no one will give it to me. You see the difference? One is victim. I don't have any confidence because nobody believes in me, versus a creator and an owner who takes responsibility and says, you know what? I don't have confidence and I don't have approval because I haven't given it to myself. To help with this idea that you are the source for everything that's important in life, I'd like to share a metaphor with you. If you could imagine an ocean, a vast ocean with no land in sight, no boats anywhere, but somehow you are floating over this vast ocean. Into your vision floats a crate, a wooden crate. It's flotsam or jetsam or whatever it is. It came from somewhere. But this little crate floats into your vision and floats kind of by you and kind of floats around you and even bumps into you. Now imagine for a moment that you are this ocean. Inside of you is this vastness, this endless, all-encompassing thing that is who you really are. And suddenly, inside of this vastness, this ocean that you are, a little crate floats into your consciousness and bumps up against you. And you look at it, and inside this crate is a belief that no one else believes that you have what it takes. You notice this belief as something that is small. It's floating by you. It's kind of eddying around you. It's bumping into you. You are the ocean that holds this crate, this belief. This belief does not hold you. You are a being with vast space within. And your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs are tiny specks that drift in and out of your being. That's the metaphor. And that's the mindset. When you start to understand that you are the source for everything that's important in life, and you understand that the beliefs and the thoughts and the opinions that you have, the emotions that come to you are just things that you contain, and they're small compared to your vastness, and you can observe them from a distance and not have to believe them, not have to be married to them, not have to attach your self-worth to a belief that floats into your consciousness and out again. So the mindset is this, that you are bigger than your wants, your desires, your thoughts, your beliefs, your emotions. Now they're real, right? They come to you, but I want you to adopt the mindset that you hold them. They don't hold you. You can grip them if you want, but they don't have to grip you if you don't want. When it comes to imposter syndrome and this feeling like I have to be approved and I want approval, and I wonder what that person's thinking about me, and I wonder if they really believe in me, and I wonder if everyone else can see that I'm such a fraud. I want you to zoom out from that thought and picture yourself as a vast ocean, and this thought came floating by. I wonder what they think. I wonder if they believe me. I wonder if I am a fraud. And then just let it float on by. You don't have to own it. That's the mindset. Now, let me couple that metaphor and that mindset with a technique that you can use at any time during the day that will help you whenever a feeling of I don't have what it takes, I'm a fraud, I'm an imposter, whenever that feeling arises and floats by, you can use this technique to center yourself and to remind yourself that you are not what people think about you. You're not even what you think about you. Again, those thoughts are just little crates that float by in the ocean, and you can choose to believe them or not. But you are not your thoughts, and you are not your beliefs. So here's a technique that you can use to center yourself in those moments where you feel like, man, I'm an imposter. Nobody believes me. I don't I don't really feel approved or wanted or desired or loved or liked, or I don't feel like I belong because the people around me can see right through me. That imposter syndrome. So here it is. First thing you got to do is get alone, get by yourself, and I want you to ask yourself, what do you want? In this situation, what do I want? Now, I'm assuming that what brought you to this technique is something happened, right? Somebody said something and that sparked insecurity in you, and now you wonder if you're a fraud. Get alone and ask yourself, in that situation, what do I really want? Well, I want recognition. I want respect. I want whatever it is. What do I want? And then what I want you to do with this feeling is this want that you just identified is I want you to picture it like a little crate floating by you, and you are this vast ocean, and I want you to welcome it. Don't push it away. Don't pretend that it's not there. Notice it as something that's floating by you and around you and through you, but it's not you. But welcome it. Number 2, after you've asked yourself what you want and you've welcomed that, I want you to ask yourself, what do you really want? And welcome that. Now, in this case, in this scenario, it's probably going to be approval. I want approval. I want people to approve of me. I want to approve of myself. I want people to like me, love me, accept me. I want to belong to this group of people. Nothing wrong with that, so welcome that also as another crate that is floating by and floating into your consciousness and will probably float out. But welcome it. And just to take a second and appreciate that you have that longing, that desire. Number 3, the third step. Ask yourself, in this moment, can I let that feeling go? Right now, can I let this wanting approval go? Can I just let it go? Don't think about the past. Don't think about the future. Right now, in this moment, do I have to want approval? And that's the question. Number 4, in this moment, right now, can you just rest as someone who is beyond and bigger than your wanting? As someone who is more expansive and more encompassing than your desire? Can you right now in this moment rest as someone who holds the want instead of the want holding you? Now, if you'll do that technique, ask yourself, what do I want? And welcome that. What do I really want? And welcome that. Can I let that go in this moment? And I'm not talking about the future. I'm not talking about what happened in the past, but in this moment, can I let it go? And then number 4, can I rest knowing that I am bigger than that want and I hold it, it doesn't hold me? If you'll do that, the result is, and the result will be, right here, right now, you'll feel all the approval that you need. Now, when you do this technique and you do it often, you'll find yourself sourcing approval from within yourself rather than looking out there for someone else to give it to you. When you use this technique and you make it a habit, you'll find that imposter syndrome will no longer be a thing. Sure, there will be times when loss of confidence and imposter syndrome will bubble to the surface and float by you and appear in your mind and in your conscience. But that's okay. What do you want? What do you really want? Can you welcome those wantings? in this moment, can you let that want go? And right now, in this moment, can you rest as someone who is bigger than that want? What you're doing is you're reprogramming your mind so that you begin to see that you are the source for what you're really looking for. In this case, approval. And when someone disapproves of you, it won't feel like a threat to your security. Instead, you'll see it as valuable feedback that you can do with as you wish. And your leadership will sharply improve because you're not acting to try to get someone's approval. Your confidence will improve dramatically because you are sourcing it from within. Friends, the solution to imposter syndrome lies within. You'll never find it out there somewhere. No one else can give it to you. Only you can be the source for your own approval and give you the confidence that you're looking for. And the surest way to regain your confidence is to actually be confident. Let it come from inside of you. Now, I want to say that some of today's content I learned from the Conscious Leadership Group and their book, The 15 Commitments to Conscious Leadership. If you do not have a copy of this book, and you can see mine's very dirty and well worn, if you do not have a copy of this book, I highly recommend that you pick up a copy. I'll provide a link to this book in the description below, and if you click on that, you can purchase a copy of it. But I got some of my content today from this book. It really helped me to understand and conceptualize what I talked about today. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.